All right, so the next thing we want to do is bring that Rhino file in and import that using the insert command. So we'll go ahead and do that. I would recommend when I bring things in, linking or importing them, I will go to the site plan. So in your project browser, just double click on the site and make it current. You can close your inactive views if you want up here, just so that it's the only tab open. Doesn't really matter. But the reason for this is because the floor plan 1 is actually starting at level 0 and cutting at 4 feet. And so it doesn't include anything above that in the view. The site plan actually goes all the way up to 200 feet and looks down. So you have a better chance of seeing what you're importing or linking in here. So that's just my particular way of doing it. So at this point, what I want to do is go to the Insert tab, and there are a whole bunch of options. And what I want to go to is Import CAD. So if I go to Import CAD, it will bring up a dialog box, and I can navigate to the zip file. I gave you a 3DM file in the zip file. So if you go to that guy and go to the inserting, you'll have drawing files, which we're going to work with as well. And notice that the drawing files are giving you a certain type of interface. But right now we want to get the 3DM file. I also gave you the 3DM file. So if you go down and pick the 3DM file, notice that the interface changes. It gives you the option to bring it in as a category, and you can also position the origin and the level. So in the Rhino file, if we look at the Rhino file and I go to, right, I've actually placed the building at 0, 0, and also made sure that it's at, that the top of the floor is very close to Z0. So you want to make sure that you do that most of the time, because then when you bring other things in, it will come in correctly. So I'm just going to come in and leave it at matching the Rhino origin to the Revit origin. And then I can also categorize it. So Revit uses categories to control how it looks at different things. So like these are all the different categories in Revit. We're going to use the generic model category for this because we're bringing in an entire model that has walls, floors, roofs, and everything. So we can't really separate that out. It is very important that you categorize it because Revit will not be able to section it. And then if I highlight that and click open, it will think for a minute and it'll bring this guy in, right? So you can see that it's plopped that guy down at 0, 0. If I go to my default 3D view up here, which is the same as the bracketed 3D view over here, I'll take a second to think, and it'll bring this guy up. Right now, it's in realistic view, so I'll go to shaded. It shouldn't change very much. If you have materials on it in Rhino, it will not come through. But basically, it brought everything in, right? All of the masses and, the model and everything like that. So it looks pretty good. What I'll usually do at this point is just kind of make sure that everything came in. If you're in your default 3D view, you have this little view cube over here, so you can kind of spin around and look at this guy by clicking on the corners of it. It'll just sort of spin the thing around for you. If you hold down your shift key and your middle scroll wheel, you can orbit as well. So I'm holding down my shift key and my middle mouse wheel. If you scroll your middle mouse wheel, that's a zoom, and wherever you have your cursor, that's where it's going to focus on. If you press down on your middle mouse wheel, that should be a pan. So that's the basics of moving around in Revit. There are some other options that we'll talk about later, but basically scrolling is zoom, shift, pressing down on the wheel, and holding the wheel down and moving your mouse is rotate. And then holding down the middle mouse wheel without the shift is pan. All right.